The following is a presentation of the HAN Network, the leader for local news, sports, and entertainment in Fairfield and Westchester counties.
A beautiful Tuesday afternoon greets us at Staples High School in Westport. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rob Adams on the HAN Network. Frank Granito with me for the call today as we have boys lacrosse and the Greenwich Cardinals will take on the hometown Staples Wreckers. Looking forward to this one. Should be a good one between these two teams as we get ready to watch a couple of teams that are trying to figure it all out. And you know, certainly, Frank, you're talking about a couple of teams that in the FCAC are kind of, I don't want to say a step down, but there's New Canaan and Darien. Then I feel like there's Greenwich, Staples, and Ridgefield, and that's where we kind of open things up.
Well, I think you can also include Wilton in that mix. Maybe not in the years of late, but they are up there with one of those traditional powerhouses. I think Staples has been the surprise this season in the FCAC with all eyes being on New Canaan and Darien. They come into this one 6-0. Greenwich, in my opinion, they've been a bit of an underachieving team right now. They're only 2-2 on the year, and I feel they definitely would have liked to have had the game we did last week against Ridgefield back. They looked like a team that just didn't know who they really were or what they were trying to do.
That's exactly the thing. As I saw them against Ridgefield, it was a very unimpressive performance from a Cardinal team that looked like Ridgefield was the better team that day for sure. Peter Dirth, 5 goals, and so it went from there. You know, the Cardinals made a late run to get it close in that game, but they were never truly in that game. And now they get a chance to kind of get back in the conversation today going up against the Wreckers.
But I think it all starts in goal with Bennett Cooper. Cooper just didn't look to have any confidence whatsoever for a sustained period in that game against Ridgefield. He will be the key today going up against a Staples team that has had no trouble scoring goals. They are averaging 13.6 goals per game to start the year, and they're only surrendering 5 a game.
Teams going through their final warm-ups out on the field, and we're getting close to getting this one started. Of course, the Cardinals, as you can see right now on the screen, out to our left in the red and white, Staples in the white with the navy blue. You'll see some hints of silver in their uniforms as well. And we have Eric Gendron directing, AJ Simonowski, John Kovac on camera, and up top is Kevin Coleman, who was nice enough to jump in with us today as well, along with Justin Galanti, who was here for a few minutes today. So nice to have a good crew on hand. Marty Hersom in the house as well. And off that, we will take a break, come back, get things going. We're getting ready for the Greenwich Cardinals and the Staples Wreckers coming up from Staples High School in Westport. We continue on the HAN Network right after this. You're watching the FCAC on the HAN Network.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or go to coastalorthoexpress.com. That's coastalorthoexpress.com. Like them on Facebook.
At the Sylvan Learning Center of Darien, experienced teachers and personalized academic support equals superior results. Our certified teachers uncover skill gaps, address specific needs, and help students realize greater academic success and increased confidence. We're enrolling now. Individualized after-school tutoring in reading, math, history, elementary math, algebra, geometry, calculus, high school science, and study skills. For a free consultation, call 203-655-3276 or email gmcsylvan@gmail.com.
For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well. Until April 30th, choose $150 cash for a Smeg toaster when you open a My Bankwell Choice checking account with a minimum of $2,000.
Join the HAN Network and Make-A-Wish Connecticut to help make travel wishes come true for local kids with life-threatening medical conditions. Donate your unused airline miles to the HAN Network Wishes in Flight campaign. Over 70% of wishes granted involve travel, and your unused airline miles can help make kids' dreams become a reality. Plus, once you donate your miles to Make-A-Wish, they will never expire. Donate your unused miles and help the HAN Network share the power of a wish.
The HAN Network is the leader in local broadcasting in Fairfield and Westchester counties. We reach tens of thousands of viewers via our live news, sports, and entertainment broadcasting. We can create your advertisement and broadcast it through our programming to one of the most affluent markets in the United States. And remember, our broadcasting is live, which means viewers cannot skip or click past your marketing message. And we measure our audience and their demographics on every broadcast. To advertise on the HAN Network, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back here in Westport, Rob and Frank on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. And, you and I were talking about it before the game today, and certainly we expect Darien, we expect New Canaan, we expected them to be good teams. Where do the Wreckers fit in all of this?
Well, right now they fit right in that mix. They're the top of the West Division. They are one of only 3 teams, including those other 2, who are undefeated both in and outside of conference play. And I think we're going to find out today if they're for real or not. Yes, Greenwich has been down, and we haven't seen them play up to their potential yet, but I expect Greenwich to come in and give Staples a big game today, and we'll see how the Wreckers respond.
Wreckers, as we said at the top of the broadcast, 6-0, 2-0 in the conference. The Greenwich Cardinals in the West Division at 2-2, 2-1 in the conference. How about Ridgefield? Ridgefield at 3-0, 2-0. Surprised by them?
I think they're very quietly going under the radar. They've only played 3 games, so we haven't seen a lot of them. But again, we did that game against Greenwich, and they asserted their dominance on them. They controlled the pace of the game the entire time.
I'll tell you something, though. I watched them on Saturday against Garden City, New York from Long Island. They dominated. They absolutely dominated Garden City impressively.
Well, we saw what Peter Dirth can do offensively and just the kind of game that he can go off for. But then Chris Clem, I think, is one of the most underrated goalies in this entire conference. He had, I believe it was 12 saves when they played against Greenwich, shutting down Perry and Scooter Harrington in that Cardinal offense. And the defense was spectacular. They run that zone defense and don't allow any type of motion or movement to get inside on them.
No, they did a really good job on Saturday. The FCAC, at least if you're going to judge it off 2 games, the FCAC dominated the Nassau County teams, and the performance by Darien over Manhasset, I was really impressed, and I knew the Blue Wave were good. I expected, I think, a little more from Manhasset.
Well, if you want to add a 3rd game into that, you can do New Canaan dominating against Brunswick, who is now the 2nd top 10 team in the nation to fall at the hands of the Rams, who are quickly moving up the polls to number 6. How Darien is still sitting outside the top 15 to me is a mystery right now.
Absolutely true. I totally agree with that, but you're talking about teams that are some of the best high school teams in the country. Now, Greenwich and Staples want to figure out where they are, not only in the FCAC, but in all of that as well. I don't know that they're there, but they're certainly among the best of this conference, and this conference is proving itself to be among the best in the country.
And Staples is taking all the steps in the right direction right now. They're doing everything they're supposed to do. They're winning games they're supposed to win handily. This is their first big challenge. They've got a couple more coming up, and we'll see how they handle when they get to the New Canaans, the Dariens. But I'm excited for this one. I think we've got a great game on our hands. Staples needs to make a statement, and Greenwich needs to get on the right foot and get a little bit of momentum going.
This game was expected to be a 5:30 start, but we sit at 5:40, and we still have yet to see the teams line up to even get close to getting things underway. So if something has changed, it is news to us.
I think there was the JV game that started a little later, ran over expected time, so they're getting the necessary 30 minutes for warm-up. 30-minute warm-up that's mandated by the FCAC and state.
So with that said, Kate Chaplinsky has an in-game news update. We can go to that right now as we continue our pregame show here on the HAN Network.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky for the HAN Network, and this is your in-game news update for Tuesday, April 19th, bringing you some of the area's top stories of the day, including that in Monroe, an emergency medical technician is facing charges after police said he was seen assaulting a patient in the back of an ambulance. According to reports, this happened on March 14th at around 6:30 in the evening when Monroe EMS transported a patient to St. Vincent's Hospital for a psychiatric evaluation. The patient reported to police that he had been assaulted by one of the EMTs, later identified as 44-year-old Alejandro Ramirez of Naugatuck, before the ambulance left Monroe. Police said the patient had been secured to a stretcher when he and Ramirez had a heated verbal exchange. A witness reported seeing Ramirez grab the patient by the throat and push down before striking the patient with an iPad. The patient sustained a small abrasion on his forehead. Ramirez is an employee with Emergency Resource Management out of Portland, Connecticut, which contracts with Monroe EMS to provide paid staff from 6 in the morning to 6 p.m. on weekdays. Ramirez turned himself into police Monday after being notified there was a warrant for his arrest. He was charged with third-degree assault and released on a promise to appear in court on April 27th. And in other news, the Milford Fire Department rescued a boater in distress this morning. The 911 call came in at about 10 a.m. Tuesday, according to officials. The caller stated that he had been duck hunting in a small vessel and was unable to return to shore. The boat's motor was unable to overcome a strong tide that was causing the vessel to drift out into Long Island Sound. The boater was found approximately 3 miles offshore when the fire department marine unit made contact. The vessel operator was taken on board Milford's Marine 2 boat, and he was not suffering any injuries. The boat was towed back to Anchor Beach in Milford and did not sustain any damage. And a New York man accused of harassing members of a Sandy Hook shooting victim's family at an event last year was sentenced to 2 years probation after pleading guilty on Monday to interfering with police. 32-year-old Matthew Mills of Brooklyn entered the guilty plea in Bridgeport Superior Court and was given a 1-year suspended sentence along with the 2 years probation. Mills was charged last November with breach of peace and interfering with an officer. Stratford police said Mills had approached members of elementary school teacher Victoria Soto's family after the Vicky Soto 5K run event and made a statement that the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown was staged and part of a conspiracy. Police said the comments were upsetting to the family members, and Mills attempted to run away through a crowd of people when officers approached him, but he was quickly detained and arrested. Soto, a Stratford native and a teacher at Sandy Hook School, was among the 26 who were killed in the December 14, 2012 shooting. And finally, dry weather conditions have caused the National Weather Service to issue a red flag warning for brush fires today. That warning is in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. The State Department of Energy and Environmental Protection has also listed forest fire threat as being high. A red flag warning means that a combination of strong winds, low humidity, and dry fuels will create elevated fire growth potential. But that does it for your in-game news update. For the latest local news, watch Coffee Break weekdays at 11. This in-game update was brought to you by Bankwell.
Connecticut is coming back to hometown banking, to a partner that makes small businesses feel big, where community comes first, where you get the know-how only neighbors can deliver, where saving time is important too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well, bank smart, bank local, bank well. With the 24-month Bankwell Smart CD, you can earn 1.25% APY and raise your rate and add to your CD.
Can't wait for it to get warmer so you can start fishing again? Get over to the Dock Shop, where they have the latest in fishing tackle, marine electronics, boating supplies, and more. But remember, the Dock Shop isn't your average tackle shop. You'll also find the finest selection of nautical apparel, jewelry, home decor, and gifts in New England. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, DocShop.com.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
All right, coming off the news update from Kate, we come back to Staples High School, and we welcome another broadcaster to the HAN Network. Kevin Coleman was nice enough to stand and guard a camera for us for a couple of minutes, and as we have a few minutes to kind of vamp here, this game, again, getting a later start, Kevin and Frank, so, let's spend a few minutes just kind of getting ready for this, but of course, folks also interested in other things, Frank, including you, maybe something going on tonight in New York City.
There's a big hockey game going on in New York City tonight. Actually, on the drive-in, I was trying to call into the Michael K. show to win tickets to the game. I was getting ready to call you and say, Rob, have AJ cover for us. We're going to the Rangers game tonight.
Big game tonight, Game 3 of that series between the Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins, and certainly a big game last night, guys, with the Flyers down in Philadelphia. And, I get it. We're local sports. I understand that. But in terms of sports behavior, let's spend a moment on that, because I understand frustration. We've all been to 100 games in our lives. Would you ever throw something on the field? Kevin, I'll start with you.
I would never. I think it's almost disgraceful what they did last night in terms of they were honoring their owner.
Ed Snyder, who died at the age of 83 last week.
Yeah, the late Ed Snyder. And it's a shame that, we know Philly fans have a reputation.
Yep.
Just like every city, and when you wear a visiting jersey to a visiting stadium, you get yelled at, you get harassed, but again, throwing bracelets and other things onto the ice was not okay. And to even have the Flyers, say, come on, don't throw this stuff on the ice is pretty bad.
So with all that said, I mean, it's just something you can't do.
It's upsetting because without Ed Snyder, the Flyers franchise, it doesn't exist. They don't have a hockey team in Philadelphia.
With that said, we'll take a break. Stick around, Kevin. We're back right after this. You're watching the FCAC on the HAN Network.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Join the HAN Network and Make-A-Wish Connecticut to help make travel wishes come true for local kids with life-threatening medical conditions. Donate your unused airline miles to the HAN Network Wishes in Flight campaign. Together we can share the power of a wish.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
Back here at Staples High School, we had a little bit of a, we called an audible on the national anthem, but we got through it.
No, it was beautifully performed, too.
Yes, fantastically performed, in fact.
But just quickly going back to the Philadelphia thing before we transition back to this lacrosse game, there is the reputation, Kevin, like we talked about, of Philadelphia fans, and it's upsetting because it's 5% of that fan base that really gives the reputation to the other 95%.
Right.
Which is it's very disappointing to hear.
Well, the joke was always that they would boo Santa Claus, and that was really an exaggerated joke. But you feel like they would boo Santa Claus off of what you saw.
It's disappointing to see, especially on a night where they're honoring the founder of the organization. Yeah. You saw his daughter come out with comments saying her father would have just been so embarrassed and ashamed for something like that to happen. But in the end, it cost him, and I think the Flyers were outmatched from the start, and it just didn't help.
And we get it. It was a bad hit on the boards. I mean, You're very lucky that a player wasn't badly injured off that hit.
And you also saw his reaction. Once he hit him, he knew he made a mistake. He went.
He stood right over him.
He stood right over
That's
him.
a big
sure
kick.
That, to make sure he could have broken his neck.
Off we go with lacrosse. Kevin, stick around. Hang out with us. Well, let's have some fun here on a Tuesday night as we get things going. Staples in the white, Greenwich in the red. A small crowd, but you know what? They're going to be making some noise. Couple of good teams, and we are underway. Controlled by the Greenwich Cardinals. Off the opening face-off, Bailey Savio handling the honors for Greenwich. Greenwich in the red and white, as we told you, they will move in the opening frame from left to right. Good to be with you from here at Staples Stadium. Peter Berger stands in goal, the 6'2 goalie down to our right. He is a senior. Here are the Cardinals. They move it around. Off to the right side. They'll back it out, losing the handle on it. Got away from Jack O'Connor. We saw O'Connor with a couple of goals last week against the Ridgefield Tigers. Underway, it'll be spun around the other way. 28 seconds gone by and no score.
And that's Greenwich picking up where they left off, Rob. Bailey Savio, who did a tremendous job in that Ridgefield game, controlling so many draws, but it's empty possessions off of turnovers that really plagued them in that loss against the Tigers.
So no score and 45 seconds gone by. We're on the opening stanza here on a Tuesday night. And a pretty
Ridgefield.
night.
They've actually had a nice start.
6-0 on the conference. 6-0 overall, rather.
And, you know, they're a good program. I mean, there's no really bad program in the FCAC. They've always had a good reputation of quality lacrosse. And, you know, Richfield is just one of those teams that, you know, really plays well. They're a powerhouse.
Max Lonergan goes behind the cage. And for the Cardinals, they need to find Bennett Cooper a little bit of sanity in net. As Frank said at the top of the broadcast, he looked very uncomfortable the other day. And right here, he finds himself down 1-0.
And it's great ball movement by the Wreckers to start this first possession. On the backdoor cut, it's Chamberlain. He shoots low to the opposite side. Cooper never had a chance as the defender lost him to the back door.
So 1-0 off the early goal. And it comes just 27 seconds into the game. So back for the face-off. Savio controls the draw, goes to the far side. Greenwich trails 1-0. They'll take it heading back behind the net. Spinning around for Greenwich. That was Scooter Harrington, of course. He is listed on the roster as Scott Harrington. I don't know a single person that has ever referred to him as that. He is Scooter, to be sure, wearing big number 6 and heading to Stanford after this year. And what a phenomenal athlete he has been for Big Red. Off to the far side, 10 yards out, playing catch. Michael Sands, the senior for the Greenwich Cardinals. He gets the ball, spins around 10 yards out, flipped along to O'Connor. O'Connor had a couple against Ridgefield. Here is Harrington. Back to O'Connor, 20 yards out. Takes a look to the right side with the wind blowing. The wind is a factor on this Tuesday afternoon. 64 degrees, but I'll tell you what, with the wind and if you're in the shade, you want a jacket. And the turnover by the long stick of the Wreckers in a 1-0 game. They'll bring it back from right to left in the white and blue. They bring it down the side. Josh Willis, the long stick, senior, 5'9", he handles things. Off to Ross Goldberg. And they will play catch. Go off to the right side, inside the numbers in a 1-0 game. Staples on top. They'll go behind the cage.
And back on the defensive side, Rob, we see the Wreckers playing that zone defense that the Tigers had a lot of success with and caused Greenwich a lot of trouble. Not a lot of motion early on in this game, and another pass turned over as they tried to throw it completely through the zone.
Bring it back, and the blast again, 2-0.
And that right there is the sophomore Evans in. He is already committed to John Hopkins. He is a special player and part of the reason this Wreckers team is off to such a hot start.
You can see why he's going to John Hopkins. What a move.
So 2-0 and 8:44 to go in the first. So a great start for the Wreckers. Now Greenwich from left to right. Will Bauer, they'll go behind the cage. Here's Harrington. And right now you feel like the Cardinals need a response, trailing by 2. Harrington goes far side. Worth looking at for sure would be the wind situation. It's out of the north at 15, gusting from the south-southwest at 23 miles per hour.
Which makes Zinn's last shot even more impressive because he was firing into that wind.
The turnover, the fight for it. They will scrum for it, and Staples will come away with the loose ball. The Wreckers have it right out near midfield. Harrington providing the defense for Greenwich, and they'll feed it across the line. Down the left side they go.
Well, that was Brandon Adrian, Rob, on that last play defensively, who picked up the loose ground ball and stepped through about half the Greenwich offense trying to take it away from him before setting up this possession now.
So they'll feed it back out. Play a game of catch 30 yards away. In a 2-0 game, you can hear the wind kind of whipping through our microphone. That seems to be the norm for lacrosse lately for us. Dancing around, you can see it as it kind of fights along with the jerseys, and this will get fed through the back of the end zone. 7:07 to go in the first, 2-0 Staples.
Nifty little spin move there from Michael Reale. Gets a good shot on goal, just kind of missed wide there. But Staples off, very confident start here as that one rang off the crossbar on the wraparound attempt.
So they'll feed it back, and a good look, and 3-0 like that. Boom. And Greenwich will need a timeout, and they should, because they are out of sorts, guys.
Yeah, this Greenwich really needs to respond after this timeout. Good timeout to call, catch a breather. Staples really playing well so far on the offensive end and defensive end as well.
That was Tanner Wood finishing off the assist from Ross Goldberg, and it has been all Wreckers so far through the first 5 minutes.
6:56 to go. We're in the first, and Greenwich trails Staples 3-0. You're watching the FCAC on the HAN Network.
A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with the Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday, right here on the HAN Network.
Rob, Frank, and Kevin back here at Staples, 3-0 the score. And surprising early on just how well the Wreckers have played. And how easily, guys, they have dominated Greenwich.
Well, Rob, it's the same issues that have plagued Greenwich all season long. Defensive lapses, just Bennett Cooper does not look like his confident self as there's a big save from Berger there. But then offensively, a nice job by Perry to take away the interception or take away the clearing attempt. But just offensively, it's lackadaisical passes that have stopped possessions and led to offensive chances for Staples now.
And a really impressive start early on by these Wreckers. So here's Greenwich looking to need something and stop the bleeding quickly. And the turnover out in front, and this pro Staples crowd is loving it early on. Wreckers lead 3-0.
Like we mentioned before, maybe this timeout that Greenwich took was big for them. You can see that they're starting to create some plays on the offensive side now. It's going to be huge for them to stop Staples on the defensive end now.
And sophomore Evan Zinn has played a key role early on in this game. So they'll go back behind the Greenwich cage. Staples in the white with the blue. Greenwich in the red jerseys with the white. The classic colors for these two schools and traditional rivals. Certainly in football, they are not big fans of one another. Bouncing down to the near side, loose, turned back, and Greenwich tries to scoop for it out in front, and the Cardinals able to control that. But a 3-0 lead for the Wreckers, and nearly a turnover. Looks like it might be, and indeed it is. Turn right back, Mike Ariel goes to the right side, stays inside the hash marks, hits the post, and turned right back around by O'Connor.
That was a great pass, I gotta say.
Reale with his head up, a great job by the Wreckers to stay onside, went all the way across court, and O'Connor cannot believe he put that one off the bar.
Is it too early to call this a must score for Greenwich?
It's not too early, but they definitely need to respond quick if they want to get back into this game. I know it's only 3-0, but in Lacrosse, it can only get worse from here.
It certainly can, and we'll see our first flag of the afternoon as the Shadows begin to make their way into Staples Stadium out on that side of the field, and that's just the shadow of the press box, in fact, that we're standing in.
Penalty is going to go against Drew O'Brien, defender for the Wreckers, and like we were saying, is it a must score? No, it's 3-0 in the first quarter of a lacrosse game. We know how high scoring these can be, but just for your confidence right now and the mentality of this team, you've got to find a way to pick yourselves up.
Of course, to be the full-service reporters that we are, I noticed the alert of a fire weather warning just because of how dry things are around the region, so something you want to keep in mind. Here's O'Connor, goes right. Taking a look at things is Bauer. Fed back behind the cage, going to Muir. 3-0, and that blasted and knocked aside.
This is something that Greenwich needs to do more. They need to take more shots on net. And this could be a big penalty for them. If they get on the scoreboard, they can get right back into this game.
With that, the penalty is actually just expired now. And that was a big stop from Berger, but from 20 yards out, that's an easy shot for him to see.
I know Kate had that during the in-game news update, but a little bit fresher information that continues to roll on. That fire weather warning will be until 8 o'clock tonight, and really for most of the region. So, again, just something you want to keep an eye on. We'll hear from Kate again, I'm sure, throughout the afternoon. Here it's 3-0. Staples on top and 3.5 to go in the first. Cooper Moore feeds it back out. Here's Will Perry. Perry feeds it off right, goes to Cooper Moore, and Greenwich able to respond and cut the deficit to 3-1.
That's the response that they needed.
And that's when Berger's going to be a little bit upset about it. Went off his stick and trickled in on the short side. He's got to be able to hug that post right there. But that is a big answer and a huge momentum boost right now for a Greenwich team that was struggling early on.
So Greenwich able to cut the deficit to 3-1. And they'll bring it back out for the face-off. Josh Willis for the Wreckers, and when they do it, Bailey Savio for the Greenwich Cardinals, the junior. But a timeout taken on the field here, and it comes with 3 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the first quarter. Looks like we'll take a break. We'll do that right now. 3-1 our score. You're watching the FCAC on the HAN Network.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
Back here in Westport, a 3-1 Staples lead, 3:13 to go in the first. Of course, and I'm sure this is the same for, as usual, the great Mars Petrosio, the football coach here at Staples, allowing us to use his office for the Ethernet connection, and known Mars a long time, so thanks to him. You know Mars at all, Frank?
A little bit from when I was playing. We don't play Staples again for another 2 years, so hopefully I'll get to cross paths with the legend then.
Mars is one of the really good guys. And, again, certainly everybody's a rival of Mars, but Mars has been great to me for a long time, and we've become good friends, so known him for a while. 3-1 the score here. Harrington feeds to Bauer, feeds back out. They'll take a look over at Cooper Moore. They'll go far side. Now Will Perry, the senior. Perry, 20 yards out, starting to dance around the man for the Wreckers. Makes his move to his left as he gets around Brandon Adrian, the sophomore defenseman. Back to Harrington. Harrington looking somewhat strange in that number 6, but Greenwich able to respond. Michael Sands makes it a 3-2 game.
And they're right back in it. Maybe that timeout that they took before was huge for them because that kind of said, okay, let's refresh, boys. And now they're back in it 3-2, only down by 1 now, and it seems like Greenwich has now taken over the tempo of this game.
And it's another awkward angle shot that beats Berger. Sands was on the 15-yard line, almost perpendicular to where the net was. He went low through the 5-hole. And like you said, they are right back in this game now.
And we know as hockey guys, again, spinning it right back around to that, sometimes there's that good timeout that refreshes things for a team. And you only get one timeout in hockey.
And what was interesting there was that Staples actually took the timeout before that possession, and it was an offside situation that led to a turnover before that Greenwich possession in the goal.
So now 3-2 off the face-off, and Greenwich controls it. John Lawrence for Greenwich, the sophomore, steps across the line. They scrum for it there as they go to the far side. And, of course, the crowd will never love what the striped shirts have to say, as is always the case.
They're going to rule, Rob, that Greenwich got a timeout called before that ball was thrown out of the pocket there from the falling Johnny Lawrence.
But, of course, the hometown fans will never like that, no matter how many ways you slice it. It's a 3-2 game as we stick around here. So Greenwich has cut the deficit. The quick 3-0 start for the Wreckers, but, Kevin, the Cardinals have climbed right back into it.
They've climbed right back into it, and now it seems like they have more of the tempo. They're getting on their offensive end. They're possessing the ball really well and getting low shots on net. That's something that, as lacrosse players know, shoot low because you never know. The goalie has a tough time getting down there instead of reaching for a stick up. So that's something that I've noticed so far with Greenwich.
Well, as for shooting low, I can give you a famous Bo Hickey quote. It's a lot easier for a guy to move his arms than it is his legs home.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm sure you got yelled at a few times by Coach Hickey.
I didn't have the strength to lift the puck and shoot at the glove, so that was my brothers who got those lectures. And it's early in the season, Rob, and it's early in this game. But when it's at 3-0, I almost wanted to say to you, this is a game that Greenwich can't afford to fall too far behind right now because they've got Big Bad New Canaan coming up next, and this is not a good point in time in the conference to be slipping down to 2-4.
And back-to-back rival games. Again, Greenwich really does not have the geological rival, if you will, because they really don't have that kind of rivalry with the Stanford Black Knights and haven't for many years. Their rivals have kind of developed over the years, and I watched it develop in football with the Wreckers. Certainly the Wreckers have become their rival, and they play them every Thanksgiving now, and of course the Rams as well. Here is Harrington. Harrington behind the net. Had a lane, but thought better of it, and it was well closed by the Wreckers. They'll back it out. Greenwich had a 27-17 lead on Thanksgiving. Not too many Thanksgivings ago here at Staples High School, and the Wreckers came right back and won that game 31-27. I remember that broadcast as clear as a bell. A blow blast, and it goes to the side of the net. So we stay put at 3-2 and 1:03 to go in the first.
And a scary thing for the Wreckers right now, and what's optimistic for the Cardinals, is Will Perry has not been that involved in the offense yet.
And that seemed to be the thing from the other day at Ridgefield as well.
Well, it was the other night at Ridgefield. I thought they did a great job of keeping him to the outside. They double-teamed him at all the appropriate times. But he always had the ball in his hands. He was making moves. He does not seem as active right now at the start of this game.
Perry and a Wrecker came together over on the sideline. That was Matt Johnson as Perry came off the field for a moment, and they just kind of exchanged hellos. Backing it out now, 25 yards out. This is Evans in, the sophomore. It'll bounce around off to the far side of the cage. Ball loose, and they'll all trap it right there. And the whistle will stop us here and spin it the other way. 12 seconds to go in a spirited first period, 3-2.
And that's a shot that Evans in probably shouldn't have taken there from so far out. It just allows Bennett Cooper to make a save and find a little bit of a groove here.
And a turnover with 1 in the first quarter on the big scoreboard comes to an end. After 1, here at Staples High School, it's Staples 3, Greenwich 2. We'll come back and start the second quarter right after this. You're watching the FCAC on the HAN Network.
Do you need help reaching or maintaining your fitness goals? For over 20 years, Mike Pernice has tailored his time and expertise to clients on both coasts whose schedules demand flexibility and accountability. Mike is a certified lifestyle manager and has been called upon to help his clients eliminate negative behaviors such as coping with stress, improving their time management, setting realistic life goals, and cutting down compulsive behavior. If you're ready to start working toward a more energetic, productive, and healthier you, call Mike Pernice.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Start of the second quarter, Staples High School, Rob Adams, Frank Granito. We kind of, drafted Kevin Coleman, who was running a camera upstairs, and we figured let's keep him around. Second quarter underway.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, we're happy to have you here, and the Greenwich Cardinals trailing the Staples Wreckers 3-2. I figured, what the heck, you'd already jumped on a camera. Might as well put you on a microphone.
Why not?
Perry loses the handle on it, scoops it back up, feeds it ahead. Harrington all alone. We have a tie game.
And that's a tremendous individual effort there from Will Perry, climbing the ladder to grab that one. Sticks with it through the check, finds Scooter in front of the net, and he will not miss from there when he is by himself.
A great finish, and like we said, it's for Greenwich. This is great to start the second quarter, tying the game up. This is only, things can only get better for Greenwich at this point.
So 19 seconds into the second frame, and we have a new game at 3. Staples got the first 3. Zinn and Wood, and then Bauer, Sands, and Harrington have responded for Big Red. We have a 3-3 game. Really, when you think about nicknames in the FCAC, and I'll often refer to Greenwich as Big Red, that's one of their alternate nicknames, but really them and the St. Joseph Hogs are the only two that I can think of that have that second name. I can't think of one for Ridgefield or New Canaan.
Well, New Canaan football is also known as the Evil Empire. They're also America's team.
Oh. Frank making them up as he goes along.
Check the Twitter. These are known hashtags.
And the sledgehammer, of course.
Are there Twitter accounts for these two as well? Not yet.
So those are our known hashtags. I'm still trying to figure out who the sledgehammer is. It is the biggest mystery in the world.
And the sledgehammer stopped doing the Twitter feed, which was a little bit disappointing. I saw the retirement note. But here it's the Wreckers and the Cardinals. And 57 seconds gone by and knocked out of the back of the football end zone. A 3-3 game here. Seemed like Staples had the better of it, but again, we talked about any need to panic. Did the Cardinals need to respond? Well, whether they needed to or not doesn't matter. We have a new game at 3. Harrington behind the net. They'll work it around from O'Connor. Perry, the blast, got knocked away, and it'll just bounce into that end zone. We saw that scoreboard to our far left kind of make its debut. We were here for Staples and Fairfield Ward during football season, just about the rainiest night we saw during the season. And let me tell you, we saw some rainy nights during football season. Our night in Damnet. Wait, take a break here from Westport. Back after this on the HAN Network.
For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000.
For over 25 years, Mike Cizik Painting and Wallpapering has been the name to know for residential and commercial properties in Fairfield County. He uses only the top brands, including Benjamin Moore, for impeccable preparation and lasting quality. Call Mike now and receive $500 off any job over $7,000. Mike is currently accepting reservations for spring, so call him today at 203-770-8869 or 203-972-3310. For your custom painting, finishing, and staining needs, it's Mike Cizik.
Join the HAN Network and Make-A-Wish Connecticut to help make travel wishes come true for local kids with life-threatening medical conditions. Donate your
Geological. Correct myself. I meant geographical. Thank you to Eric for correcting me on that. In any event, 3-3 our score. Geographically, they normally had they actually had a bit of a relationship with Portchester High School as well, but regardless of grammar and proper words, that is the case here. We're tied at 3, but they do have a rivalry with Staples and New Canaan. They'll go behind the net, feed far side. Darien also climbing into that same conversation of rivalry as the wind just continues to pick up here. And we said there would be some wind problems. If you watched Coffee Break earlier today, then you would know that. If you didn't, we're informing you right now. Fed along to the near side. Perry will start back.
Rob, I can't believe I'm saying this, but there is a broken stick on the field.
That is not very common for sure. And indeed, I see the official holding it in his hands.
There might be 2 now.
Mass chaos here at Staples in a 3-3 game. And 8:10 to go in the first half. Here's Harrington. Harrington sends it back behind him to O'Connor. O'Connor back to Harrington. Harrington near side for Sands. Plays catch with Perry. Perry to Harrington, trying to find a cutting Sands, and turned over and taken back the other way by the Wreckers. Billy Hutchinson, the long stick, will bring it across. Of course, he's playing a defensive, not using the long stick today, as they'll send it back behind, and back to chase it are the Cardinals.
That was a really good opportunity for Ross Goldberg there. Did a good job to sidestep the defender. Had a chance to put one on the net, but fired it wide to the left. And Cooper, the closest man to it, gives Greenwich the possession, moving back the other way.
So to the near side they go, as it'll be thrown across by Cooper, the senior. Ahead to Sands. Back it goes to Perry. Perry playing catch. Now Harrington. We mentioned Harrington wearing 6, but so used to seeing him in that number 80 he wore for football. Going to the far side now. Of course, Greenwich football had an interesting year for sure, and a rather fascinating game with New Canaan for the obvious reasons. Harrington, they'll go far side. Knocked around. It'll come over to the near side, and Sands will try to scoop it as it goes out of bounds. Father coaching versus son, of course, with the Marinelli Bowl, and so much was made of that. We had it for you here on the HAN Network. I am quite sure my partner, Mr. Granito, was rather sick of that.
It was a fun day. I thought that I thought Johnny did a tremendous job with the team this year. They obviously played a great game against us. It's a program you have to watch out for in the future. I think they'll make a lot of noise this upcoming year.
I do as well. I think they will be a better team. And for John, you know, for sure, as it gets sent off the side of the cage, with no disrespect to anyone they had on their staff, Johnny needs to develop his own quarterback.
And they're doing that now. I'm sure he doesn't need me talking about it. And
right.
He'll like things to be done the way, but they're taking all the steps in the right direction. And as we get back to this game, something to keep an eye on. It was Tanner Wood, number 22, and Connor Chamberlain, number 21, Rob, who both had their sticks fail them, so they're on to the backup ones now.
They'll come over to the near side, and it won't be long before we have a view of the football schedules. I can't even begin to ponder the fact that I will be putting together a football schedule, which I'm hoping Frank will give me a hand with, but a football broadcast schedule will be forthcoming in the very, very near future. And that is a stunning thought, considering it is late April now. But that's the way it works. It is sent down on net, and the Wreckers able to climb back on top.
And it was Tanner Wood, and it was a pick and roll with a little bit of a fade off of it. Did a great job finding the soft spot at the top of the slot, and he bears it down low on Cooper.
I was going to mention that Greenwich was doing a great job possessing the ball, but then, Staples came down, did an awesome job as well, and they found the back of the net. This is something that Staples is going to have to continue to do in this quarter. We haven't seen much of it yet, but now it looks like they're doing a good job on the offensive end.
So a 4-3 Wrecker lead, and it comes here with 5:23 to go in the first half. So back out for the face-off. 1-goal games, face-offs so big. Savio comes away with it. He'll take it back into his own zone. Bounced over, turned around, and they score with a wide open net and a bad turnover.
Bad turnover. Very bad turnover for Greenwich. And even better one for Staples as they finish an empty netter, which you don't see very often in lacrosse.
We actually saw one just the other day, in fact.
Okay.
We did. A very rare one as they pulled the goalie, believe it or not, in a game that we were watching.
So I was going to say, the rare times you will see it at the end of a game, if you're up by a goal or two, teams will often pull their goalie and challenge you to shoot at the empty net with the idea that they can win a draw, go back and score so quickly. But credit Josh Willis, who stuck with Savio off the draw, forced the errant pass, and a great job by Chamberlain. And I guess the backup sticks are working as Chamberlain and Wood go back to back.
And that, too, you don't see sticks breaking that much in lacrosse either.
No. So again, scrumming for another face-off. And again, the wind an issue here, certainly. Now, is it affecting the players on the field? I don't want to go that far, but you can hear it kind of rustling through our microphones. Sands just inside the numbers. Now a 5-3 lead for the Wreckers. Staples the first 3, Greenwich the next 3. Now the Wreckers have picked up the last 2.
And that's huge for Staples because everything in this game had turned to the Greenwich way. The fans had just gone silent. They hadn't had an offensive possession in what felt like almost 10 minutes. But now you get a little bit of this going again. You need to stop here on defense and keep riding this train.
Not a big crowd here today, but certainly a crowd that is making some noise, including folks on the far side as well. As this is sent down on net, it'll bounce around, be scooped up initially by the Wreckers. A Cardinal falling over a loose stick and turned back the other way. You don't always see the visiting bleachers get taken, but they are being used here today with probably a good 20 fans or so across the way.
That last shot didn't actually even get to Brugger. It was knocked down in front, blocked by Chase Levy, and I don't know that he ever saw it.
It'll be taken back into the football end zone behind the cage. They'll work it to the near side. A 5-3 Staples lead. As they back it all the way out, now 33 yards outside of the net. Reale for the Wreckers. Sends it down and outside the football numbers with the shadows getting longer across the Staples Stadium field. From Wood, and they'll feed it all the way around to Zinn. Just playing a game of catch. Bring it back to the near side. 5-3 the score, and Tanner Wood with the ball. Tries to make his move in, but backs it out. So the Wreckers and Paul McNulty slowing things down. Bobby Lutz, the head coach in his first year for the Cardinals.
And this is a really smart idea right now by this Wreckers offense. You've got the momentum. Don't allow Greenwich, as we see, stumbling down to the ground there is Goldberg. Greenwich coming up with the turnover, but that's a good job. You slow down the pace of this game and force Greenwich to play back to you now.
Greenwich's junior Peter Santry made the play, and Perry waits for it. Had to wait an extra second. The ball was behind him. So he'll bring it from right to left. Fed down and stoned right out in front of Harrington. Sands tried to scoop it away, but it's the Wreckers who are able to grab it.
Scooter called for the crease violation, but it doesn't matter as Bruger shuts the door as Harrington was all alone in front again. So I take that back. He will score 99% of the time from that spot alone.
And you mentioned a great save, and we also mentioned it before, the possession now that we see with the Rutgers offense, this is a smart move by them. We saw much of it in the first quarter, and just like the first quarter, Greenwich finds himself down by more than one goal.
5-3 the score and 2 minutes to go in the first half here at Staples Stadium. Fed down, it'll go behind the cage. Ross Goldberg had it. They'll go far side. Bring it all the way to Reale on the near side. He stays inside the numbers, dances in. Looking, the low bouncer, and he scores! So the Wreckers making it work. It's a 6-3 game.
That was a pretty goal, too.
The low bouncer working for him, Kevin, and now with 1:43 to go in the first half, all of a sudden, the Wreckers have scored the last 3.
And it's the second time today we've seen Reale make some moves on the offensive side. He's very quick with the ball in his hands, and a nice little skip shot there. Came up higher than Bennett Cooper expected, and he buries it mid-range at the left side of the net.
And just as we thought, Greenwich came out in the second quarter playing really well. Staples has really turned the tables here as they have the full advantage right now.
And Rob, it's very similar to what we saw in that Ridgefield game where Greenwich gets that little bit of momentum, but they come back down to the bottom of the mountain. Now they got to work back up.
The only difference between this game and that game is Greenwich never found a way to tie that game. They never got that game even. This time they did, but they've also allowed 3 in a row.
It got to 2-1 against Ridgefield. They had a couple opportunities to tie it up, but couldn't finish, and Ridgefield went on a 4-0 run to end the first half, which was just tough for Greenwich to come back from.
Yeah, it was a big mountain for Greenwich to climb as Harrington has it behind. He scoops back there, gives it off to Sands. Perry waiting near side. He's got it. He blasts it well high. That'll bounce around on the fence on the far side of the field.
A little bit of frustration coming with that shot right there.
Certainly in football, Greenwich and Staples have had themselves some fun on this very same turf. It was once a grass turf, and I will refer to it in the most positive way because this was turf, along with Greenwich High School, among the grass fields. I would have eaten off of this. It was so nice.
No, I actually agree with you, Rob.
Yeah.
They, coming here and playing soccer during my time in Ridgefield, we play over on the grass, and it is beautiful. You don't see that very often anymore with soccer.
It was a very crisp, clean turf, but they did go to the field turf, the Gurf style, if you will, as Perry tries to dance his way in. Greenwich knew some heartbreak here, certainly in football, and they played some great games. Field goal a difference on one Thanksgiving. What a job these two teams have done. But here in Lacrosse, they're giving us a thrill with 10 seconds to go in the first half. Bounce to the near side. Sands waits on it. Sands resets, works the fake between defenders, and a pretty goal by Michael Sands to cut it to 6-4 and 3 to go in the half.
And that's a big goal for Greenwich. To go into the half at least down by 2, that's big for them.
It's huge, and it was a great job by the senior Sands, following up off the Perry shot attempt with little time left, working through defenders, getting to the front of the net. Smart shot down low, again on the short side. Bruger's going to be upset about that one with only 3 seconds left as the lead is cut to 2 before halftime.
So time for one more face-off. There it is, with 2 and 1, and the half will come to an end. So the first half over, Greenwich able to rally to cut the deficit to 6-4 as this has been a game of runs. 3-0 Staples to start things, 3-3 Greenwich, and then Staples made it 6-3, but the Cardinals have climbed back to 6-4 as we get ready here for halftime activities. Kate Chaplinsky has a in-game news update, and Frank, Kevin, and I will return in a bit. 6-4 Staples leading Greenwich as you're watching the FCAC on the HAN Network.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky for the HAN Network, and this is your in-game news update for Tuesday, April 19th, bringing you some of the area's top stories of the day. including that in Monroe, an emergency medical technician is facing charges after police said he was seen assaulting a patient in the back of an ambulance. According to reports, this happened on March 14th at around 6:30 in the evening when Monroe EMS transported a patient to St. Vincent's Hospital for a psychiatric evaluation. The patient reported to police that he had been assaulted by one of the EMTs, later identified as 44-year-old Alejandro Ramirez of Naugatuck, before the ambulance left Monroe. Police said the patient had been secured to a stretcher when he and Ramirez had a heated verbal exchange. A witness reported seeing Ramirez grab the patient by the throat and push down before striking the patient with an iPad. The patient sustained a small abrasion on his forehead. Ramirez is an employee with Emergency Resource Management out of Portland, Connecticut, which contracts with Monroe EMS to provide paid staff from 6 in the morning to 6 p.m. on weekdays. Ramirez turned himself into police Monday after being notified there was a warrant for his arrest. He was charged with third-degree assault and released on a promise to appear in court on April 27th. And in other news, the Milford Fire Department rescued a boater in distress this morning. The 911 call came in at about 10 a.m. Tuesday, according to officials. The caller stated that he had been duck hunting in a small vessel and was unable to return to shore. The boat's motor was unable to overcome a strong tide that was causing the vessel to drift out into Long Island Sound. The boater was found approximately 3 miles offshore when the fire department marine unit made contact. The vessel operator was taken on board Milford's Marine 2 boat, and he was not suffering any injuries. The boat was towed back to Anchor Beach in Milford and did not sustain any damage. And a New York man accused of harassing members of a Sandy Hook shooting victim's family at an event last year was sentenced to 2 years probation after pleading guilty on Monday to interfering with police. 32-year-old Matthew Mills of Brooklyn entered the guilty plea in Bridgeport Superior Court and was given a 1-year suspended sentence along with the 2 years probation. Mills was charged last November with breach of peace and interfering with an officer. Stratford police said Mills had approached members of elementary school teacher Victoria Soto's family after the Vicky Soto 5K run event and made a statement that the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown was staged and part of a conspiracy. Police said the comments were upsetting to the family members, and Mills attempted to run away through a crowd of people when officers approached him, but he was quickly detained and arrested. Soto, a Stratford native and a teacher at Sandy Hook School, was among the 26 who were killed in the December 14, 2012 shooting. And finally, dry weather conditions have caused the National Weather Service to issue a red flag warning for brush fires today. That warning is in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. The State Department of Energy and Environmental Protection has also listed forest fire threat as being high. A red flag warning means that a combination of strong winds, low humidity, and dry fuels will create elevated fire growth potential. But that does it for your in-game news update. For the latest local news, watch Coffee Break weekdays at 11. This in-game update was brought to you by Bankwell.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
Until April 30th, choose $150 cash for a Smeg toaster when you open a My Bankwell Choice checking account with a minimum of $2,000.
It was a great game, but it got messy at the end. With sports, I'm Rob Adams. Kate, back to you.
Thanks, Rob. Well, speaking of messy, here's a story about how Triple S cleaned up a big problem for the HAN network. Eric, let's roll that footage.
The HAN network travels all over Fairfield County in our HAN Cruiser, covering news, sports, and entertainment.
And when we do, we make sure that our HAN network branded floor mats are with us to keep the dust and dirt outside.
These mats get filthy, and there's only one company that can get rid of that kind of dirt.
Triple S, with locations all over Fairfield County. We're just now pulling into their Stamford facility. Rob, let's go see if Steve and Wanda can clean these mats up.
Wanda, Steve, literally thousands of feet have walked across our mats in the last 5 months in wind, rain, mud, more.
Is there any way you could make these mats look like new again?
No problem.
That's what we do here. Come on in.
For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000.
Are you hoping winter is finally in our rearview mirror? Can't wait for the air and water temperatures to start rising? Well, if the answer is yes, you need to get over to Darien or Westport and stop by the Dock Shop, where it's always summer. Both shops are being stocked with lots of new merchandise, including fishing tackle, marine electronics, boating supplies, and more. But remember, the Dock Shop isn't your average tackle shop. At the Dock Shop, you'll also find the finest selection of nautical apparel, jewelry, home decor, and gifts in New England. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, and 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Online at dockshop.com.
Join the HAN Network and Make-A-Wish Connecticut to help make travel wishes come true for local kids with life-threatening medical conditions. Donate your unused airline miles to the HAN Network Wishes in Flight campaign. Over 70% of wishes granted involve travel, and your unused airline miles can help make kids' dreams become a reality. Plus, once you donate your miles to Make-A-Wish, they will never expire. Donate your unused miles and help the HAN Network share the power of a wish.
What's happening up in Hartford and what's trending in the Nutmeg State?
Join Kate Czaplinski
And Josh Fisher
on CT Pulse live Wednesdays at 12:30 to find out.
We talk to the leaders and newsmakers while breaking down the stories you should be paying attention to each week.
With the help of HAN's editorial cartoonist Doug Smith, we take a humorous look at the news of the week. We talk about everything you were told you should avoid bringing up in polite company.
CT Pulse, Wednesdays at 12:30 on the HAN Network.
When it comes to local entertainment, we've got it all.
From movies, local artists, etiquette, and more.
Watch HAN Arts and Leisure every Thursday at 2 on the HAN Network.
I'm Denise DiGregoli, the host of The Drive on the HAN Network. Join me Tuesdays for some motivational, intelligent talk with a little humor as we visit with people who live their lives mindfully. Tune in to The Drive live on Tuesdays, 12:30, here on the HAN Network.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Just about ready for the second half. Rob Adams, Frank Granito, Kevin Coleman, AJ Simonowski, John Kovach, Eric Gendron, Marty Hersom. I think that's everyone. Back here in Staples High School, 6-4, our halftime score. The Wreckers leading the Greenwich Cardinals. Thanks to Kate for the halftime news and information. And away we go with the second half. For the face-off. And Savio with another win. They scrum for it, go to the far side. Now the Wreckers come away with it. Josh Willis. Willis to the near side. Willis fighting himself to get down low. The backhander and over the top of the net. That was Billy Hutchison. Good look, though, for Hutchison to get things started here in the second half.
Great look. Maybe next time, not the backhand, but definitely a great look for Staples.
There you go.
Tough position there for the long stick in front of the net on your offhand.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
6-4 the score. Michael Sands for Greenwich, able to cut the deficit with just 3 seconds remaining in the first half. So they'll go behind the cage, will the Wreckers. Bring it over to the near side. Ross Goldberg wears number 7. They'll go to the far side. Tanner Wood work it all the way around from Reale. Now feed it off to the near side. Bring it back along to Chamberlain. Connor Chamberlain for the Staples Wreckers, coached by Paul McNulty. It's a 6-4 game. And the Wreckers have the lead. Thinking about the blast, and it got pushed along to the near side.
What a shot, too. And, high percentage shot. Unlucky, came right off the post, but a great look for Staples.
We talked about that scoreboard in the first half down at the back end of the end zone to our left. We were actually here on the Fall FCAC tour as they were installing it. And the Wreckers, along with Darien and New Canaan, among the prettier scoreboards in the conference. As this is sent down and around, and it'll be taken away by Bennett Cooper. And shockingly, one of the teams without one of the prettier scoreboards, the Greenwich Cardinals. But I have a feeling that will change soon. However, they did have some money allocated for some improvements to at least looking into improving Cardinal Stadium. They, however, tabled that as this will get sent down and goes out of the back of the end zone to our right. So Sands will grab a loose ball. So Cardinal Stadium will get their improvements. It's just going to take a little bit longer. Little trivia for you. Actually, the first time they turned on the Cardinal Stadium scoreboard, the current one, was my first football broadcast. September of 2000. As Cardinals able to score here and cut the deficit to 6-5.
And it's Perry. He's on the board for the first time today. Trims it down to 1. Another shot that beats Berger down low. This one from distance. And that might be what gets Perry going for good now, Rob.
And it comes with 9:46 to go in the third quarter. So 6-5, and a game, it has been a game of runs, Kevin.
It really has, and, it's that last goal by Greenwich, big boost. And we also mentioned they scored right before half just to help their confidence level at least. So hopefully now they can try and possess the ball in the offensive zone and try and slow down Staples.
And based on trends, I would bet that Greenwich scores next.
Perry along the near side.
And something that we haven't really mentioned yet, Bailey Seville, Rob, has still just been tremendous on draw controls this game. I think Staple has only possessed about 2 or 3 so far today, as he's still one of the best weapons that the Cardinals have.
Absolutely true. They'll go back behind the cage. Sands back there. Takes a look, gives it off. Out in front, and Frank is right. Tie game.
Great call.
Addison Muir ties us up.
And there was confusion amongst the defense there. Who would switch on who as he came around for the wraparound attempt. A great job finishing up high just underneath the crossbar. And we are knotted up at 6.
So the Cardinals scoring quickly, and they climb back in to a new game with 9:13 to go in the third. Volleyball. Go ahead, Kevin.
Sorry, I was going to say, just like the first half, we saw Greenwich come back and tie the game up. Now are we going to see Staples turn the engine on again and score 3 quick goals?
I started to say volleyball tomorrow here on the HAN Network. If you are so inclined, please join us tomorrow afternoon. Bit of a time change on that one, but that is tomorrow here on the network. I couldn't seem to reel Frank into doing volleyball with me.
Freshman baseball game up at the farm tomorrow.
A little offended.
I would love not to take the bus up to Trumbull. I wish.
Well, the start time now, 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And that is at Ridgefield High School. Ball loose, comes over to the near side. Harrington between a double team.
Well, Trumbull's right around the corner from Ridgefield. I'm sure I could be there, just
oh, please.
10-minute car ride.
20 minutes, tops. Everything's 20 minutes. They'll send it back for the Wreckers. Go to the far side. A 6-6 game, 8:13 to go, third quarter.
And if you're Staples right now, you want to have a long possession. Quality shots if you're going to throw anything at the net. don't risk something stupid on a careless pass right now. Try to gain momentum back and put one on the board, retake the lead here.
Reale goes to the far side for Wood. Behind the cage with Goldberg. Far side, they'll work it back to Reale. Spins left and goes to Zinn. Again, they'll go back behind the net. A 6-6 game. Here's Chamberlain. Off to Zinn. They'll play catch. A little feed down low. Again, the ball movement. Chamberlain, Zinn the fake. Zinn backs it out. Guarded by the opposite number 11, Truman Imbo for Greenwich. They'll go behind, feed it. The low blast. Bounced around and taken away by Cooper. The way the crowd reacted, I thought we had a new game at 7-6, but not the case.
Go ahead, Kevin. Sorry.
That was a great save, but even better look. A great spin move, great fire on net, and a great save by the Cardinals. And now we're going to see if they can answer here and score a goal.
Cardinals have not led in this game, Kevin. We'll see if they can do so here. The bouncer comes away. It'll go behind the net as they all fight for it, and it'll head back behind the football end zone.
Kick save there by Berger. Well done to force that one away from the cage. Rob, out of town update at the end of the first quarter. New Canaan girls on top of Wilton 8-5.
Shocked you've got that score for me.
No, a couple fans there.
I figured. Going to the far side, Sands. Sands throws it on net, blocked away, and turned back the other way. The save by Berger. A 6-6 game here and 6:25 to go in the first half. Catherine Granito, by the way, is one of the nominees for our FCAC HAN Athlete of the Week on the ladies' side. You can do the voting, of course, at HAN.network. Part of her, of course, her many things that we talked about, all the scoring she did and all this other stuff, but we also said she had the best brother in the FCAC when we nominated her.
And you know what? Gunnar did have a great match yesterday. For the New Canaan golf team. He got called up as a freshman. He's having a lot of fun playing with the boys.
All right, Gunnar and Frank, both great brothers, along with all the rest of the Granito family. The little bouncer goes back behind the net. 5:46 to go, third quarter. A 6-6 game.
And something Staples has done well the past few possessions. We've seen the quick ball movement around the outside. It's forcing the Greenwich defense now that's gone to a zone to keep shifting, and it's opening up that one extra pass for a clear shot.
Off to the far side it goes. Frank making with the funny with the Gunner reference. This is a guy who once referred to me as Mr. Adams, and now it's just all falling apart. Bouncer goes back behind the net, and Kevin's learning as well. Up until about a few hours ago, I was still Mr. Adams. 5:19 to go in the third, and a 6-6 game.
Still have to earn it.
Yeah, you've earned it.
You've earned it? All right.
You earned your stripes you earned your stripes long before today.
Oh, wow, okay.
Down to the near side. I was going to say you actually earned it by going up and working a camera, but I can't be that foolish. Back into the end zone it goes, coming near side. Greenwich and Staples tied at 6. Off to the far side it goes. That's O'Connor, a loose ball, but it's spun around and taken away by Will Perry. Perry for the Cardinals, feeds inside. The low bouncer, and Greenwich has got their first lead. Sands with the goal, 7-6, Greenwich.
And a great job by Greenwich possessing the ball, looking for that perfect shot. They got it, and now Greenwich has the lead. A little bit of a surprise here. Staples fans growing a little nervous here as Greenwich has a 7-6 lead.
You saw the hesitation from Sands. He looked to the back door as he had Scooter Harrington waiting there. It forced Berger's hand, and he was able to go down low through the 5-hole again. Greenwich on top for the first time today. They've got to feel good with Savio in the draw right now, as that will once again lead to a Greenwich possession.
And it does indeed. They move from left to right in the red and the white. Greenwich on the front of the jersey. The largely classic Greenwich jerseys, as getting down close was Harrington. For the most part, the Greenwich jerseys have stayed largely simple. A turnover here goes right back to Harrington. He loses the handle. They fight for it. And it's taken back initially, and the Wreckers have got it. The Wreckers also don't do a whole lot of fancy stuff with their jerseys. They keep it simple, and they always look very sharp doing so. They feed it down low, and they tie it up. Tanner Wood, 7-7.
It's a great job in transition. An unbelievable pass and feed from Josh Willis on the attack. Wood buries it. And, Kevin, I was going to ask you, if you were Greenwich on that last possession, we saw Scooter go to the net hard right away. Do you take your time, have a little bit of a deliberate possession, or do you try to continue attacking with your first lead?
I think you had to attack at that point when you had the lead, put some pressure on Staples. But I was going to say that turnover I thought was going to go badly for Staples. But they did a great job defensively just to get in the way of that. And then look at that. They go on the they go in and score a goal right away to tie this game out. A great job.
Well, it was Brugger's original clearing attempt
Right.
that Harrington tipped. Perry came up with it, fed it to Harrington all alone, and was unable to make the transition to the shot, and the Wreckers just come back right away in transition.
So another face-off win for Greenwich. Now a 7-7 game and 3:52 to go in the third quarter. Of course, we were here last week for some good baseball as well, as we watched Staples really battle to come from behind and take on the Stanford Black Knights. They eventually won that game. Back-to-back home runs, including just an absolute bomb off the bat of Ben Kasparius. Knocked around. It'll be taken back by the Wreckers. They'll move from right to left. Kasparius, just one of those majestic high bombs going across the left field fence, and a timeout spent here. It comes with 3:21 to go in the third quarter. Timeouts were being taken regularly. This quarter, not so much. We're tied at 7. We pause from Staples High School. A 7-7 game. You're watching the FCAC on the HAN Network.
At the Sylvan Learning Center of Darien, experienced teachers and personalized academic support equals superior results. Our certified teachers uncover skill gaps, address specific needs, and help students realize greater academic success and increased confidence. We're enrolling now. Individualized after-school tutoring in reading, math, history, elementary math, algebra, geometry, calculus, high school science, and study skills. For a free consultation, call 203-655-3276 or email gmcsylvan@gmail.com.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
Welcome back to Staples High School. Rob, Frank, and Kevin. AJ's lingering around. John's here as well, as is Marty and Eric. We're having some fun. And we've got a good game as well. 7-7 with 3:21 to go here in the third quarter. We saw some good baseball yesterday as well. Another game of runs as Darien got off to a 3-0 lead. Then Danbury able to tie it up at 3 before the Hatters able to pull away and win 6-3 up the line in Danbury yesterday afternoon. I have another point I want to make on that game, and I'll come back to it in a moment. As we go to the far side with the Wreckers, they'll go back behind the cage. I tweeted about it earlier today, but I want to make sure I mention it again because, and it's certainly a compliment to the athletes and coaches and everyone involved, but the Wreckers look for more. Out in front, the save made, and spun back around as the Cardinals try to get it, and they do. They come away with it, and Bennett Cooper makes the save. They'll lift it to the near side. It'll be played by Peter Santry, the junior for the Cardinals. He'll feed it ahead. From left to right go Greenwich in the green and white. Here's Perry with the head of steam. Fighting his way around the opposite number 3, Josh Willis. Take a look, go back to Sands in a 7-7 game, 2:22 to go, third quarter. Sands back behind the net. He had Drew O'Brien, the defenseman, on him as they'll go far side. Stay along the numbers. Perry, who's all over the place, in one of the last spots that's getting any real glimpse of sunlight with the lights on here at Staples. Harrington playing catch with Sands and the loose ball and the bouncer, and Greenwich regains the lead.
And what a quick release out of the stick of Perry. He cuts right through the heart of that zone. Great find by Harrington. Better shot by Perry, and the Cardinals back on top.
And we saw Perry. He's the one that started this whole possession to begin with. And you see him now, after possessing the ball, he's the one that finishes it.
So it comes with 1:55 to go in the third and an 8-7 lead. The point I just wanted to make very quickly, especially the Danbury team, they were very involved and interactive with us yesterday. Granted, we were outside their dugout, but both teams, I thought, deserved a lot of credit for being as interactive with us as they can. Look, one thing for us, you get us lineups, you get us rosters, and we're pretty much out of your way, but the Danbury kids made such a point of coming to Eric and myself and AJ and Marty and John and JB and all of us on hand and thanked us, which was the coolest thing to be told thank you for coming out and covering the game. It meant a lot to all of us. Here are the Wreckers with a long stick, tying, getting closer to get this game back to 8.
And it's Hutchinson taking Kevin's advice. He shoots it overhand this time. The lefty and the long sticks buries it. We saw Cooper struggle against some long stick shots against Ridgefield. Never looked to have a chance against Hutchinson, the junior, right there.
And you see he hesitated before he shot that, spun around, and then he found the back of the net, and we have ourselves a great, great game.
So once again, a new game at 8. Our buddy Scott Erickson checking in on Twitter. The tweet going out that Will Perry had recently scored, and of course that was too much for Scott to avoid, as we put it up as William Perry, which is how he's listed on the roster. And of course, Scott questioned whether or not the Fridge had scored. Of course, from the great 85 Bears. Going to the far side, Greenwich looking for more. So after we, of course, responded, Josh Fisher then had to say it was a goal line fullback dive. And Walter Payton, rest his soul, Walter Payton should have gotten the ball there. But that's the way it goes. Super Bowl 20. A mere 30 years ago. Off to the near side. Long before we began to suffer with the idea of the Patriots winning Super Bowls, they lost 46-10 that day. Here's the bouncer to Harrington. Harrington has a pinball around. That was the Steve Grogan, Tony Eason New England Patriots, who never stood a chance in that game. Here we've got an 8-8 game and 27 seconds to go in the third quarter, and a good lacrosse game. Fed back behind the net to Sands. Greenwich on the attack. Back out it goes. There's a blast, and Greenwich regains the lead with O'Connor making it 9-8.
And what a strike, too. And, like I mentioned before, we have ourselves a back-and-forth game. This could be a game that goes down to the bitter end. At this point, it's looking like it.
And that was an absolute missile from 15 yards out, head on. He tucks it right up underneath the crossbar. Brugger never saw it till it was already past him.
So Greenwich now a 9-8 lead. And every time there had been any form of a lead in this game, it has evaporated quickly. Ready here with another face-off. And another win for Greenwich, no surprise. The quick strike, and the bouncer goes back behind the net.
And I like that shot. We touched on it before, Frank, how Greenwich has been slowing it down, but I like that. They're up by 1, get a quick shot on net, and maybe it goes in and you have a 2-point lead.
The bouncer comes over near side with 2. Time to work the ball in with 2. The official waits a sec, now throws it back in with 1, and the quarter comes to an end. So third quarter in the books and a 9-8 Greenwich lead. Greenwich leading for the first time today. We'll start the fourth quarter right after this. Come on back to Staples Stadium. You're watching the FCAC on the HAN Network.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Chop off your knives to be sharpened. Grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock Monday through Wednesday right here on the HAN Network.
Thanks, Eric Gendron, as we start the fourth quarter. Well, let's get it started from here at Staples High School. It's a 9-8 game in favor of the Greenwich Cardinals on top of the Staples Wreckers. A.J. Simonowski on a camera, so is John Kovac. Eric directing. Frank Granito here, so is Kevin Coleman. And I'm Rob Adams. So glad you decided to join us. By the way, Eric, I know you're not on microphone, and I can't think of his last name. We have a gentleman up top as well, and I don't want to not give him credit. Henry Scavone up top. Thank you very much, sir. Fourth quarter, getting ready to get underway. Henry kind of showed up right after we went on the air, so Kevin had started in his place, so that's why I'm not able to give him proper credit for the broadcast.
That's one way to win a draw.
That's one way to do it right there. To the near side. Greenwich up by 1. Work along to the far side. We'll try to keep Frank focused on Lacrosse as 7 o'clock comes and goes.
No denying it.
Frank, big Rangers fan, as am I, to be fair.
It makes 3 of us.
There you go. You're one of us. We haven't really quizzed you yet. We've gone easy on you, Kevin. Far side it goes. Work it back out. We were quizzing Justin Galante before, as this will bounce back behind the net. Justin answered the most important question that I think I've asked every potential broadcaster over a very long time, and that is favorite baseball team.
Oh, Yankees.
You're hired. Far side. Justin answered in the affirmative as well.
Perfect.
Gendron I would have fired a long time ago. To the near side. They'll go behind the net. Eric, a loyal Red Sox fan, to his credit.
And he's had some success over the past couple of years, eh?
Certainly has. Bouncer finds the net. How about Goldberg? How about 9-9?
Big game-tying goal. 10:42 left in the fourth quarter. This game's tied at 9. Like I mentioned before, this could go down to the bitter end.
And you saw Goldberg come around the net, Rob. He took that leap off the left foot, get that higher angle, shot it from top all the way down low. Cooper looked lost on it, though. He was expecting that one up around the crossbar as it slipped right between his legs.
So another big face-off here. And away we go with another Cardinal win. Here's Sands blocked out in front, comes over to the near side. Turned right back around, and from left to right, the Wreckers will bring it.
That's the second time today Chase Levy has taken one off of his backside. He's going to have a couple bruises tomorrow for sure.
They'll go to the far side.
He's got that playoff hockey mentality.
He does. Frank working on the playoff beard. I don't buy into the playoff beard.
At least for one more day.
That's the best I'll do is a couple of days, and then I get rid of it.
I like it when the players do it. I do, I have to say. I like when the players do it. I think it's pretty cool.
And we're seeing our first flag in a long time coming here.
Since the first quarter, Rob.
Yeah. So the foul will result in a penalty here with 9:51 to go.
It's going to be a hold against Greenwich's Peter Santry, and this will be the first time we see the Wreckers with the man advantage. Huge opportunity for them to get back on top, or for them to get back on top in this one.
Far side, they'll bring it over to the near. A 9-9 game, and coming up on 9.5 to go. Blasted on net and spun right back around. So they'll feed it out. Greenwich from right to left. Of course, the red and white of the Greenwich Cardinals as Sean Daugherty made the play for the Cards. But they're living dangerously, and the long ball thrown all the way down Bouncing around. Can Harrington get it? He fights for it, but it's taken away by the Wreckers. So back behind, Berger plays it.
The man advantage has expired, and I do not like that shot there, as trucking through a defender was Levy. Sets up Wood, and he buries it from up top.
What a finish.
Big turn of events, and the Wreckers now grab the 10-9 lead with 8:52 to go.
Kevin, it was a questionable pass throwing it the length of the field to Harrington by himself with 3 other Wreckers around him. He's unable to control, and the Wreckers make amends for what was a suspect shot early on in the man advantage.
Right, and they were just coming off the penalty too. It looks like Greenwich was going to get away with it, and a beautiful finish, and now Staples is back on top here.
How about the effort from the sophomore? That was Evan Zinn, who just bowled over a Greenwich defender on his way to the offensive side of the
truck
field.
Stick.
Oh, man. And he set up Wood, who picked up his 3rd of the game.
Greenwich with the win. Near side Sands. 8:45 to go. 4th quarter. Greenwich trailing Staples 10-9.
I tell you what, though, Rob, the game has lived up to all the hype. It has been a fun one right now.
It has been. It really has been a fun one. Again, with the 3-goal leads, you kind of wondered, would this be the best game of the day? It's been very good. Each team has fought back in this game, no matter what the deficit. We'll see if Greenwich can do the same.
I was going to ask you guys if you guys expected this to be a game like this, 10-9, where it was tied, going back and forth. I was going to ask you guys that question if you expected that or not.
I think for me, Kevin, the biggest thing is what kind of Greenwich team do we have? They respond with Perry to tie it up. Because we couldn't figure out Greenwich, and we really couldn't figure out Staples either at the top of the broadcast, Frank.
Well, it's our first time seeing Staples, and before we get to figuring out each other, what a shot by Perry. Yeah. He tucked that one in the top left corner with some mustard on it from 15 yards out to the left side of the cage. He was on the numbers where he took that shot from.
A little lacrosse lingo, they call it the top shed.
That's upper 90.
Upper 90, just like in soccer, correct.
So a 10-10 game now as Perry gets his 3rd of the afternoon.
But Rob, you're right. Staples, we haven't seen much of. They're off to an unbelievable start. They now get to play their first perennial power of the FCX conference, and it's Greenwich trying to find themselves and where they're going to fit into the mix this year after a slow start for them.
Across the line from right to left comes Greenwich in the red and white with the white shorts. We have a 10-10 game and 7:45 to go. Don't go anywhere. The next goal hardly will be the story of this game. Back out it goes. O'Connor, 20 yards out, spins right. O'Connor gets it back. Here's Harrington. Harrington to O'Connor, back to Harrington. Harrington now to Perry. Perry feeds it across. Here's a blast. Greenwich regains the lead.
Beautiful possession of the ball in the offensive zone for the Cardinals, and an even better finish. And now they take the lead with 7:22 left in this game.
So Addison Muir gets his 2nd of the game.
And it all starts with the skip pass from Perry. They'd been playing it between him, Sands, and Harrington. He skips over Harrington, goes cross field to Muir, and Muir beats Berger down low. We've seen a lot of goals through the 5-hole today.
In these last 7 minutes, Perry's the guy that you want with the ball if you're the Greenwich Cardinals.
Sure.
And we said when he had that first goal in the second half, maybe this is the one that gets him going and he starts to find his rhythm. He is taking over this game right now.
Savio, Sands, quick ball movement near side. An 11-10 game. Here is Perry. Perry playing a stud of a game near side. He'll get it back. 10 yards out. Along the line, Scooter Harrington backs it 10, 15 yards out. Again, back to Sands. 11-10 Greenwich. 6:54 to go. We're at Staples High School. Fed along the line. Back to Perry. Perry, a dance, a good look to Sands. He was close, thought better of it. Back out. Goes to Harrington. Harrington to Muir. Back to Harrington. The ball movement near side as they stay inside the numbers. Feed it across. Go to far side now. As the game of catch continues, Moore once again. Little flip over, back to Perry. Perry blasts it! Oh my goodness, 15 yards out. And Greenwich grabs their first 2-goal lead of the day, 12-10.
He makes a difference. He's the guy that you want with the ball in the offensive zone, and he made a huge, huge goal there.
And a much-needed timeout taken by the Wreckers. It comes with 6:17 to go in the fourth quarter. Staples now trailing Greenwich 12-10. We'll take a break, and we'll come back to Staples High School in Westport right after this. You're watching the FCAC on the HAN Network.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or go to coastalorthoexpress.com. That's coastalorthoexpress.com. Like them on Facebook.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
6 minutes, 17 seconds remaining. We've got a good one at Staples High School. A 12-11 Greenwich lead over the Staples Wreckers.
And going back to the last Perry goal that made the lead too, there was a mix-up between Braden Adrian and Billy Hutchinson. We saw Perry a couple times on that possession wind up like he wanted to shoot from distance. The two defenders were unsure of who was closing out to him. It allowed a window. He wound up and unleashed from about 18 yards out, and Berger never had a chance.
Savio with the face-off win. He runs down, flips and sends it wide. So Harrington will scoop up a new ball.
Total change in momentum in terms of Greenwich has all the momentum right now, and Staples hasn't had the ball possessed in their own end in a couple minutes.
On the far side, lights on here at Staples, really not needed right now with 5:52 to go in the fourth quarter. Muir near side. He'll go back behind. Geographically, he is behind the cage.
Geologically,
he's a ways away from the rocks.
There's some sand on the field, I think.
I hate all of you. To the near side, here's Harrington. Harrington sends, works it around, brings it near side, O'Connor. O'Connor looking for a lane to shoot, didn't have it. Muir holds it 25 yards out. Back to O'Connor. Going to the near side, they play keep away. 5 minutes to go, fourth quarter.
And Kevin, this might be the best possession Greenwich has had almost the entire game right now.
Oh, yeah, and you see who has the ball right now is Perry, and he's the one who's really conducting this and making sure that he's killing some clock, and that's just a very smart move by the Cardinals here.
In a double team, a couple of yards deep in the end zone, Perry comes out.
Going to need a triple team right now with the way he's playing. The stall warning is on. They've got about another 15 to 20 seconds on the shot clock, Rob.
It's like the job that was done on Kevin Mack the other day that we saw up at Ridgefield High School. 4:25 to go, fourth quarter. The natives getting restless. Down to 4:17. Here's Perry. Perry making his move. Perry puts it on net, and it gets pushed back out of the net. Mercy, Josh Willis took it away.
What a save. That is almost Sports Center top 10 worthy right there.
Peter Berger with his best of the afternoon. And across the line, Tanner Wood.
And a lot of time left here. You don't need to force anything if you're Staples.
Not at all. 3:45 remaining, fourth quarter. Greenwich leads 12-10. They'll go back behind Goldberg. The game of catch with Zinn. Faking on the shot, spinning around. Couldn't get a good look at it. Real sends it down low, the tip, and they score to cut it to 1. With the little cut down low from Wood, who's having himself a day, it's 12-11.
And Tanner Wood has been the best player all day long for the Wreckers. It's fitting that he gets them back on the board right here. Let's go back, though, quickly for a second here as we watch the replay on this Berger save. Perry comes flying around the net. It hits Berger in the chest, bouncing over near the goal line, and he's able to reach back and fling it out to safety. But what a find by Reale. The defense gets caught ball watching, Kevin. Tanner Wood able to sneak down to the back door for the one-timer.
Right, and that's such a great look and an even better finish just to have the instincts of catch and release, just to finish it. Great job. Now Staples is only down by 1.
So the big face-off with 3 minutes and 23 seconds remaining, and it's going to turn toward Greenwich. They'll feed it to the far sideline. Outside the numbers. Savio loses the handle on it, and the loose ball taken back by the Wreckers. Again, no need to rush. 3:07 to play. 12-11 Greenwich.
It was a beautiful wrap check from Josh Willis right there that forced the turnover on Savio after Willis had the false start on the faceoff.
Backing it out with Zinn. Keeping things close with Wood. Here's Wood. Out it goes. 20-plus yards out. The handoff from Reale to the far side. Zinn to Reale. 2.5 remaining. Near side it goes. Tanner Wood. A cutting Reale heads down near the net. Goes behind it. He gets it. Good look inside. The bouncer knocked around. A whistle and a flag. 2:16 to go. The officials conferring on this. They'll bring in the third official as well.
And I wonder if this might be on Greenwich. If that's what you think, Frank.
Well,
I think it might be on Greenwich.
I think the call will be on Greenwich, but it'll be interesting to see if they say there was a crease violation first, and that would negate it.
Right. It was close. He was definitely close to coming inside the crease.
Perry's body language told me all I needed to know. So Perry heads off. Brandon Del Cristo comes on for Greenwich. 2 minutes and 16 seconds remaining. Harrington comes over to the near side as well. Now he starts to walk back off. And he'll head back on now. Daniel Colligan, a senior, is the one standing the closest to being in the box. But it's the Wreckers looking to respond. Little bouncer, scooped around. They'll scrum for it. Play it to the near side. A Cardinal able to flip it along was Doherty. Greenwich comes away with it, and the whistle on the near side. Greenwich bench frustrated, but a timeout spent here. And it comes with 1 minute 51 seconds remaining and a 12-11 game.
And, you know, that's something that if you're the Wreckers, you do not want to do, especially on a penalty. You want to possess the ball. They had plenty of time to slow things down, work it around, try and get a good shot, but to turn it over like that, not a smart move by the Wreckers, Frank.
And you could see Reale was thinking about shooting, and he knew it was a mistake. He tried to pass it off at the last minute, but it almost slipped out of his stick. Cooper Bennett did a good job of jumping on it. As I'm jumped on.
Bodies fly around in the press box, Frank. It happens.
Weirder things have happened.
Cooper, but you're right, Kevin. It's an inexperienced kind of mistake right there to do something like that. Now you've got 1 minute 51 left. Greenwich is going to have the ball, and let's credit the Greenwich coaching staff using a very smart timeout there.
It is a smart timeout, just to kind of go over things, talk about how you want to go over and how to defend the Staples offense and to try and secure this win. And like I mentioned before, this is going to be a fun finish.
A lot of time left, and that's the big thing. A lot of time left here for both teams. And, Rob, we are going to get to find out what each team is made of now and where they stand moving forward into the heart of the FCX season.
We do not want you to leave us by any stretch of the imagination, but should you turn your TV on and mute the sound, you will discover at Madison Square Garden with 12.5 to go in the first, it is no score between the Penguins and the New York Rangers. Doc on that call tonight?
No, I do not believe so.
It's on MSG tonight.
It's also on USA.
Okay.
If you are outside the New York market. I think they are covering the Detroit-Tampa Bay game from the jail.
Doc is an American hero, so Doc's not on the call. I'm not sure I'm as fascinated with it. And a whistle here turns it back. 1 minute, 44 seconds remaining, and a loose ball, and Sands comes away with it initially, and now a whistle and a timeout spent by Greenwich. Frustration being shown by the Wreckers.
Very bad turnover, and he knows it too. Fans are upset here. It's a terrible turnover, and Greenwich could easily, stop the clock here as we approach the end of game time.
Very close to. I wasn't 100% sure that Greenwich had possession of that
either.
ball when the timeout was called. I thought it was a generous give from the official there. But you get the break on the offside. You've got the ball, and then to turn it over again like that, it's more than frustrating at this point right now for the Wreckers.
And the Wreckers have shown that they've, done a lot of turnovers in this, at the end stretch of this game, and that's something that if you look back on tape, maybe this is something that they're going to look at and use. Say, guys, we can't turn the ball over this much in the fourth quarter for the next upcoming games.
Regardless of what happens in the next 98 seconds, Staples has proved to the conference today they do belong and they are for real.
They come back out onto the field with 1 minute and 38 seconds remaining. Perry with the ball. In red with the white number 3. Feeds it across to the far side. As the clock continues to tick down in a 12-11 Greenwich lead, loose ball going the other way. Sean Doherty lost the handle on it. Good defense by the Wreckers. It'll spin it around with 1:23 to go.
Staples still has a timeout left. Make sure you get it into the box. If things are not going the way you want to, call it over and let's set things up here.
Reale fed it to the near side to Tanner Wood. No need for a rush with 1:05 remaining. Played near side by Wood. Going back to Goldberg. A game of runs. Can the Wreckers answer and tie it up? Out it goes. Little bouncer goes wide. That came from Zinn.
And the sophomore was shooting that all the way. As soon as he caught it, he knew he was putting it on cage from straight up.
47 seconds remaining. Another blast. Reale bounced out in front. The ball loose. Trapped. Cooper spins it around.
He's had some great saves down the stretch in this game.
Bennett Cooper's shown me a lot today. As it bounces over to the near side, it comes out. So the Wreckers get it back with 27 seconds to go.
And good pressure on the forecheck. Forces the bad pass. You get another chance here now. You've got to make a shot count, though. Try to get inside that zone. See if you can get something closer than 15 yards out.
Zinn will start things. Maybe the last possession of the game. Zinn gets it across. Now near side. Played to Wood. Wood feeds behind the cage to Goldberg. Goldberg far side with 15. They'll play it down low. The good look. Oh, and he flipped it over the net. That not the shot he clearly wanted with 9 seconds to go. But another chance. Behind the net, Reale. The wraparound try. He scores! Yes!
What a finish. Mayhem here at Staples High School as fans are going crazy. What a finish.
Reale wanted it right away after the restart. He noticed he didn't have a Greenwich defender on him. He got possession of it, able to make the strong move to the net, finishes on the backhand. It looked like Cooper Bennett got a piece of it.
Right. That ball just trickled in at the last moment. He couldn't quite get it. as this game is tied.
Tied at 12 and 5 seconds to go to the extra session. We'll see if it's necessary. A big face-off here. If not, we're faced with sudden death. Down to 1. They're not going to get a shot off. Overtime is coming. Well, not enough in regulation. We need overtime. We're tied at 12, Greenwich and Staples. We'll start it right after this. Come on back and stick around. Stick with us here at Staples High School. You're watching the FCAC on the HAN Network.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
Well, regulation wasn't enough to get it started, or get it resolved rather, so we'll go to overtime. Next goal wins it. Captains shake hands out at midfield. The Greenwich Cardinals and the Staples Wreckers tied at 12. Been a good one so far.
It really has been a great one so far. Back and forth the entire game. At one point we thought Staples was going to run away with it. Then we thought Greenwich might run away with it. These two have shown great resiliency, and it's been a fun one to call.
And Greenwich will be frustrated tonight if they don't come away with this win. They had their chances to close it out. Cooper Bennett with a huge save at the end. They're unable to clear it successfully, and credit Staples for coming back with only 27 seconds and being able to score and send this one to overtime now. We will play 4-minute sudden death overtimes until we have a winner. We'll start with Staples attacking from right to left on your screen. Greenwich in the red on top of white, going from left to right.
Could this fall into a HAN Network classic?
For lacrosse, I would agree with that.
Okay.
Probably only the second overtime game that I can remember in the lacrosse games that we've called here, whether it be on video or in our radio days. John Kovach and I can tell you about a Greenwich Ridgefield game, our very first lacrosse game that went to, I kid you not, 4 overtimes. Next goal wins. Long look at the face-off. Willis and Savio. They continue to scrum for it. And a whistle and a quick timeout. Savio was going to get possession of that ball, so the timeout is intriguing.
Well, he had possession. He wanted to go immediately in on the attack. I think it's a smart timeout because now Greenwich can set up your offense. You only get one timeout in the overtime, so you have to use it wisely.
No, I agree. It's definitely a smart timeout. Set things up, talk it over, maybe make up a game plan here. But, what they're going to definitely do, what I think is what they're going to do is definitely slow the ball possession down, work for a good shot, and, hey, it could be a game winner.
And that's the big thing, Kevin, that if Savio comes down, he puts a shot into Berger's stick, that might be the only shot you get in the overtime.
Right.
So you want to make sure that it is a shot that you wanted to take, you trust, and you knew that you put everything behind it. So I think it's a smart timeout by Greenwich, and I would expect that if Staples gets possession on the opposite side of the field, we'll see the same thing from them.
It is essentially, for the most part, a one-possession session each time around. You can see it go the other way. It's not uncommon, but each team tends to play keep away for that last shot.
And it's a smart strategy to it. Because of how quickly you can score in transition in lacrosse, you want to make sure that you're controlling the pace of the game.
So the ball played to the near side by Addison Muir. Next goal wins. No anticipated ties. 3:37 to go in the extra session. Michael Sands. Goals have not been at a premium today. You would imagine someone will score. Maybe I'm just being optimistic. Sands, far side. Goes outside the numbers, guarded by Hutchison. Starts to back his way in, goes behind the net. Scooter Harrington waiting there. Tied at 12. Harrington faked on the shot, backs it out Sands. Sands with a wayward eye to the near side, and it got knocked away, but it'll stay with Greenwich. That wayward eye toward Will Bauer.
And I think, Rob, that actually plays to Staples' strength right now because they had a short stick matched up on Perry for the majority of that possession. Now they get a long stick able to cover him from distance.
Perry looking for the game winner, steps into the football end zone just a few yards deep. Gets a pick set by Harrington. Makes his move to the near side, crowd into it. Goes back behind the net. Here's Harrington. Harrington thinking, going down low. And the ball turned away and taken back by the Wreckers. Levy lost the handle on it. They scrum for it. The Wreckers have it? No. It's Greenwich with the ball, and that's Bauer. 2:14 to go. We're in the first overtime, tied at 12. Driving. The bouncer out in front, and the save made by Berger. Berger, the big save. Off to the near side. So the Wreckers will look to reset things.
Kevin, I can't believe that Staples hasn't called a timeout yet.
Reale with the
You
ball.
can hear fans asking for it, too.
And the bouncer comes over near side. And out of bounds it goes. Greenwich ball with 1:45 to go.
What an exciting overtime. So far, at least. Definitely both teams getting their chances.
It was such a struggle for Staples to get upfield in transition. I was shocked that even the first time when Chase Levy ran into the triple team and lost possession that the coaching staff didn't use a timeout. And now after the shot saved by Bennett Cooper.
What a great turn, though, by Willis to steal it away from Doherty. And the whistle and a lot of whistles. And someone in the crowd in need of a hug, not loving the officials. 1:24 to go in overtime. We're tied at 12.
And there's that timeout that we were looking for. Definitely, it was about time, but it's a big timeout, and this is something that the Wreckers are definitely going to take full advantage of.
Well, you put yourself in such a great position to come away with the win here. It's such a chaotic period of 4 minutes where anything can happen. If there's any sign of trouble that you might lose possession and you have the timeout, use it immediately. Yep. So you set yourself up for success, but they found a way yet again. They're in a good position. And let's see how they respond and what they draw up.
And I thought defensively they've been playing great in this overtime. A couple big saves by Berger, which has really helped them stay in this game. And now we're going to see what they do possession-wise. Try and look for a shot and a great high percentage shot that's going to lead to possibly a game winner.
And it only seems fitting that Berger would have to make a save against Perry.
84 seconds remain in the extra session. Tied at 12. Zinn with the ball. Zinn will start to move in. 30, 25 yards out near side. Behind the cage. Bring it over near side, Chamberlain. Chamberlain back to Zinn. We'll play it far side for Wood. The feed down low, back behind the net. Bounced around, heading back out toward those defensemen long sticks. Twisted around. Greenwich with the loose ball in transition. Oh, look out for Perry, but lost the handle on it. Took a hit from behind from Zinn. 52 seconds to go in overtime.
Unlucky there. Unlucky handles by Perry. If he had that, he was on for a break.
Harrington into Perry. Perry looks things over. Straightens things up. Reale on him. Moving along with a half minute to go in the overtime. 12-12. Greenwich and Staples have given us a good one. Near side Perry takes a look. feeds it along. That's where Harrington waits. Harrington 10 yards out. Harrington feeds down low. The bouncer goes over and comes over out of the football end zone. 15 seconds remaining. Greenwich will retain. Sands calling a play. Sands starts in. Sands with a spin move. Works his way. Thought wraparound. Down to 7. Feeds it back. Around it goes, far side. The blast! And they score! No, wave it off, excuse me. Not good. Off the side. It looked good at first, it was off the side, and this session will come to an end. It hit the side, but it looked like it went in for a moment. My goodness.
And I think the Greenwich player, it might have been Sands, closest to us on this side, reacted as if it went in through the net.
And that's what happens as a broadcaster, and you know this, Kevin, and Frank, you as well. You watch for the reaction. You watch for an official. You watch for a player. I saw a Greenwich player react, so I thought we were done. We're moving on.
Right, and the goal moved, too, which made it look like it also went in.
Exactly.
And, we all, from here, it looked like it went in. Players reacted like it went in. But rest my case, we're going to another overtime and a great FCAC matchup here between Greenwich and Staples.
A second overtime coming up. Eric Gendron in need of a hug. 12-12 after one extra session. We start overtime number 2 right after this. You're watching the FCAC on the HAN Network.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
Until April 30th, choose $150 cash for a Smeg toaster when you open a My Bankwell Choice checking account with a minimum of $2,000.
Welcome back. 4 minutes on the scoreboard.
We'll switch ends of the field here for the second overtime. 4 minutes on the clock again, still sudden death.
We thought we had a goal right at the end of overtime. It was not the case. It was off the side of the net. So we go into double overtime. And the strategy begins. Savio comes away with it far side. And a timeout immediately taken by Greenwich with 3:54 to go.
Get your timeouts reset when you get to the second overtime. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a smart timeout. We touched on in the first overtime. You only get one, and they're crucial. And Greenwich looking to finally break free and get this game winner. So we'll see what they draw up on this timeout.
Out of town, Rob. New Canaan coming away with the win at Wilton, 14-10 for the girls.
Also out of town, and Frank and I talking about it when we were off the air. A goal now wiped off at the Garden. Still no score. Rangers and Penguins. Eric was in need of a hug. Now Frank is in need of a hug.
Frank is in need of a goal. But this has been unbelievable, and it's just getting more exciting as we come down the stretch here. And how important has Sevilla been now for these? Obviously, they can't capitalize in the first overtime, but having a face-off guy like him, you're almost guaranteeing yourself that first possession.
A face-off win has been huge. 6 seconds gone in the extra session. The second extra session. And away we go. Perry will start it. Perry taking a push on the far side. 30 yards out, moves in. Perry sends it along and deflected away off the save.
Definitely a good look. I like that. Off the post, unlucky there for Greenwich.
It was a strong move by Perry at the start. He got a step on on Willis, and that forced another defender to collapse towards him, opening up the shot from the end. I think it might have hit Levy again.
Perry, that one went wide.
I think it might have hit Levy again, who just happened to be standing in the way.
Definitely pinballed around. Now 3:29 to go. It's a 12-12 game. Behind the net, Scooter Harrington. Harrington trying to get a good look. Can't get one. Lost the handle on it for a moment. Tossed it. Regained it. Sands takes it near side. Sands with 3:10 to go. Sands goes to the far side of the cage. Flips it along, and Perry waiting for it. Perry behind the net. Taking a hit back there from Willis. Perry fed it to Harrington. Can Harrington go collect it? He cannot.
Unlucky look there for Perry. He had a good pick and roll, but unlucky there and a bad turnover. Now Staples with the possession.
From left to right, couldn't handle it. They grab it back. The Wreckers get it. With 2:39 to go and flipped around, Reale will scoop it back up and the flag.
Definitely a big hit. Frank, I don't know about you. I don't know if that was a foul or not.
I could not see it. I am impeded by the stanchion here separating the left and right side of the press box.
Fans definitely not happy with the call. It's definitely going to be on Greenwich. And now Staples with a big advantage here. It looked close. I wasn't sure if that was a foul or not.
I wasn't sure either, but Will Bauer will serve it. 2:36 to go. In overtime, tied at 12. Next goal wins. So here are the Wreckers. Looking to win it. Near side. Went from Tanner Wood to Goldberg. They'll back it out. Feed it along. Off it goes. Bouncer wide. Reale.
And Kevin, I would use your timeout right now.
I agree. I'm surprised they haven't already.
No timeout. So they'll back it out again. Zinn. Feed it down. The low blast, and they win it!
Why would you use your timeout, Kevin? What were you thinking?
Great finish, great luck. They had the man advantage. You almost knew that was coming.
It was a really smart possession. They did a good job working it around the outside, not forcing any shots. Chamberlain with the big low to high shot on the short side, able to beat Cooper.
And like we said, great game. Took us to double OT to finally finish. Give Greenwich a lot of credit. They played outstanding tonight, showing a lot of resiliency to come back after being down so many times.
What a game we saw here at Staples High School tonight. The final score, the Staples Wreckers 13, the Greenwich Cardinals 12. We'll come back and put a wrap on it right after this. Staples with a big win. We say goodnight after this. You're watching the FCOC on the HAN Network.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Chop off your knives to be sharpened. Grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Can't wait for it to get warmer so you can start fishing again? Get over to the Dock Shop, where they have the latest in fishing tackle, marine electronics, boating supplies, and more. But remember, the Dock Shop isn't your average tackle shop. You'll also find the finest selection of nautical apparel, jewelry, home decor, and gifts in New England. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcast in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back here at Staples High School after a fun one, double overtime win. The Staples Wreckers get a 13-12 win. Rob Adams, Frank Granito, Kevin, what a job. What a job, Kevin.
What a job. And great game in general. Took us to double OT. Another fantastic FCIAC lacrosse finish. And Staples, big win. And Frank, we touched upon it a lot. They didn't use that timeout, and we kind of joked around the booth here, but they didn't need it.
No, they didn't. And Staples came in. They took care of business. This is a tough one for Greenwich, and it does not get any easier as they travel to New Canaan, or have New Canaan at home on Thursday. We'll be covering that one, which will be exciting to see the Rams for the first time, or second time this season. You guys had them against Prep. But Staples is undefeated still and controlling their own fate as far as they're concerned in the West Division. But a great one here. A Han Network Classic, as you called it, Kevin, and it was awesome working with you, man. Great job.
Yeah, I wanted to, chime in and say thank you guys for letting me join in, and it's been a pleasure. I was very happy to be a part of it.
We'll have you a part of it again in the future. Great job.
All right, thank you.
Don't thank me. You can just do my cleanup. I got to go watch the Rangers.
Well said. There's no need for me to recap the scoring. You will see all the highlights tomorrow on Coffee Break. We'll show them again on Nutmeg Sports. We will have everything for you tomorrow, but after a long day of lacrosse here at Staples High School, they've already turned out the lights, and let's face it, that will do it. Final score, Staples in double overtime beats the Greenwich Cardinals 13-12. Coffee Break starts your day tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. Of course, as we head into Wednesday, that means you will be talking about CT Pulse, among other things, as well as Nutmeg Sports on your Wednesday. And then volleyball tomorrow, and I just confirmed Matt Norwald will join me for the call as we'll watch Ridgefield tomorrow afternoon in boys volleyball at Ridgefield High School, and that now a 5 o'clock start as they take on the Darien Blue Wave. For our entire crew here at Staples High School, Marty Hersom, AJ Simonowski, John Kovach, Henry Scavone, Kevin Coleman, Frank Granito, Eric Gendron directing. For all of them, I'm Rob Adams. Thanks for sticking around with us. The Staples Wreckers get a double overtime win over the Greenwich Cardinals, 13-12. You've been watching the FCIAC on the HAN Network from Westport. Good night, everyone.